So what's up guys, Foxen here. Attack on Titan chapter 113 is just around the corner. So let's go ahead and get started with this casual prediction and my hopes for the next chapter. All your Twitter questions will come a little later in this video. Alright, so first thing I want to bring up is the rogue Eren. In the previous chapter you just saw Eren destroy Mikasa and literally beat up his best friend Armin. The very interesting part is that Eren is bringing both of them back to their hometown. Hopefully this means that the next chapter is going to start right at their hometown area, or at least them getting close to it. So far in the previous 5 chapters, they've really been teasing this demo, just unleashing the colossal titans in that one district. Eren and the rest of the cult are already ready. The one problem is the other missing factor, which is the royal blood titan, Zeke. Zeke should be running his ass over there, just sprinting. Although let's actually hope that Zeke has a frigging plan. Over from the Titan forest, he's super far away from that district. I mean, I think Zeke would freaking die before he even made it over there. So hopefully the other Yeager brother is gonna go send an escort over there. Anyway, but back to Eren. So Eren's gonna go back to the hometown with his buddies, and at the very least I hope that they're gonna be setting up this colossal titan demonstration by the end of the chapter. I mean, right now we are in a home stretch, about 20 or so chapters, potentially less. I got this feeling that Isayama's gonna make this grand finale of Attack on Titan end just where it started, which is their hometown. Although of course things don't always go as planned. Let me actually bring up Pieck and the warriors. There is a question about what exactly these guys are planning. You saw Pieck scouting around the whole island. One thing that you should take note of is that she's been watching the survey corps and the military carts going by. She's also been reading the newspaper. That's why I'm sure that Pieck has a good sense of what's actually been going on inside the walls. The newspaper previously mentioned their victory over Marley. Then on top of that, they also leaked what was going on with Eren, just being held captive. That being said, let me actually bring up the warrior that's still on ice, Annie. So like I said, we're entering the endgame now, and still no female Titan. The one interesting part to realize is that Hitch got brought back into the story, and she's been appearing in a couple of few chapters. This is why I'm certain that whatever role Hitch is going to play is going to be connected to Annie. So who knows, potentially Hitch is going to lead the warriors there, she's going to lead Eren there, she's going to lead Zeke there. Whether that's going to be of her own choice or not is still a mystery. Who knows, potentially Hitch could become the next female Titan. Next up, here's 2 quick things I do want to see this chapter. The first is really just some thoughts from this rogue Eren. I mean, last time you heard his thoughts was during the WarHammer Titan battle. At that time, he appeared to be this more calmer, more intuitive thinking Eren. Although just knowing Isayama, he's definitely gonna make us wait. On that note, how about this second wish? Which is actually getting a lot more from Zeke, that being him speaking or any of his thoughts. So far, we've gotten very minimal things from Zeke. I mean, I did love his back and forth between Levi and Zeke. I would wish for more of that, but you know what happened the previous chapter. Anyway, let's now go ahead and move on to your questions. First off are the questions coming from the Patreon Discord server, which by the way you can get access to if you become a Patreon supporter. That includes all tiers, and the lowest tier is only $1, so definitely consider supporting. First question up from Kashmir Fox. Do you think the Titan transformations confirm Ackermans can't become Titans? Or was Levi the only one that didn't drink any wine? I'm actually glad someone asked this since it's been a very popular question. You saw all the soldiers with Levi just taking care of Zeke for like a month or so. And during that time, they were just unknowingly drinking that contaminated wine. Oh, drink up the Zeke juices. The thing is, a lot of people seem to be wondering why Levi didn't become a Titan. Does this finally confirm it? Keep in mind there has been the popular theory that Ackermans cannot become Titans since they're not Eldians. However, in the case of Levi, he is most likely half Eldian, from the Papa side. So back to the question, unfortunately I don't think this confirms it either way. Isayama in the past did mention something about Levi not drinking much. It really doesn't seem like something Levi would do. I mean, he has the beast right in front of him. I doubt that Levi was even sleeping much. I could just see Zeke plotting, oh, when Levi has like 1 glass of wine, I'm gonna go beast Titan on his ass. There's also the other thing that I'm not sure if every soldier actually transformed into a Titan. I'm pretty sure there must have been like a handful that didn't drink the wine. Next question from Spark the Cake. Do you think that Zeke is going to activate the Ackerman instinct on Levi, forcing him to become loyal to him? So this actually goes back to the whole discussion regarding Ackermans and the stuff revealed this latest chapter. The thing is, even if you take what Eren said at face value, I think there's still a lot of things that's unconfirmed. I'm not even sure that someone of royal blood could force the Ackerman instinct like you're suggesting. I actually do want to have this whole video just going in depth and discussing this whole Ackerman stuff. But for now, I think right now is too early to say. Although I highly doubt that Zeke could just force that to activate. Otherwise, why wait till now? If Zeke could have done that, I'm pretty sure he would have already done it. Anyway, let's now get into the Twitter questions, and definitely be sure to follow on Twitter so you can send your own question too. First question from Johnny Wrestling. I've seen this theory that since Eren broke Mikasa's heart, that this is now Kiyomi's chance to convince Mikasa to come over with her. Do you think this could happen? If so, could Eren end up rescuing her? Proof to her him saying he hates her was a lie. Oh, a lot of you guys are still trying to say that Eren loves Mikasa, even after what happened, which I'm not necessarily against, but it's not something I'm holding my breath on. But don't you worry, if Eren is in fact pulling a Lelouch, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna find out his real motives at the very end. Now the thing about Kiyomi, what her actual role in the story, at least going forward, is still a mystery. You know that Kiyomi wants the Iceberg Stones to make some money and to make those advanced weapons. On the other hand, I do think that partially at least she does care about Mikasa. The thing about Mikasa going over to the nation, didn't Kiyomi leave? I'm pretty sure that if Kiyomi ever comes back to the island, that'll be near the end of the story. I don't think she's gonna get off it. Next question from JJ's WWE Asylum. I heard the idea that Eren could eat all Titan shifters and use the power to wipe out all Titans, breaking the curse of Ymir and creating peace. Could Eren survive if this happens, or would he vanish as well? Or is that still a what if? Alright, so now that we're officially in the final arc, I believe, I'm pretty sure that people are going to be dying left and right, like almost every chapter. Although that's perhaps not necessarily major players. For this question specifically is asking about the popular idea of Eren gathering all Titan powers and then breaking the so-called curse, if it does exist. I think Eren's long-term goal is definitely to wipe out all Titan powers, and anything related to that. How that's going to happen is still a question. The thing is, if you're going to ask whether Eren's going to survive to the end of the series, I'm going to say there's over a 50% chance that he's not. I may go up as high as 80% that Eren's not going to survive this. That being said, I don't think Eren's going to die until the very end. Next question up from Kevin. I don't know if any ship will happen in Attack on Titan, but if you could pick one you'd like to see happen, which would it be? Is it Eren and Mikasa, or do you like the idea of Levi and Four Eyes hooking up? Penis emoji. So 3 questions in and already getting a lot of shipping questions. Alright, so let me think about this. Like I've been constantly saying, if I were to root for one ship to happen, it would definitely be Eren and Mikasa. Although Levi and Hanji being a thing would be nice to see too, that is if they survive. Although going back to Eren and Mikasa, I don't see Eren surviving this, not a high chance anyway. Although after the previous chapter, how about this? Let me throw the wrench out there. How about Mikasa and Armin? So going back to the whole, Boruto's dad situation? I mean, you just had Mikasa broken down. What if Mikasa actually latches onto freaking Armin? Or how about best girl Armin hooking up with Historia? Next question up from Maddie Goo. If Bird is alive in Armin's psyche somewhere, then Eren and that crazy WarHammer lady. So yes, this question is actually something I recently addressed in my Eren in-depth video. Assuming what Eren said about Armin was correct, then Eren is definitely being influenced by all the Titans, not just the WarHammer lady. Next question from Mav. Foxen, first off, love your videos, and second, I thought of a massive plot hole. If it's Marley's mission and the Warrior's mission to reclaim the Founding Titan and attack Titan, and he could have had the opportunity to eat Eren and consume the spinal fluids in the forest. Okay, so I thought this was a question, but let me actually address this. So first off, I think people like to overuse and throw around the term plot hole. And second, the Warrior's mission was to reclaim the Founding Titan. They didn't necessarily know where the Attack Titan was at all, which is one of the reasons Annie didn't want to eat Eren. There was also the other issue about them combining Titan powers. I mean, sure, Annie could have ate Eren, but as soon as she got back to Marley, oh, they're gonna try to separate the powers. Goodbye, Annie. Next question up from Joy of Gaming YT. Do you think that Levi will die by Zeke himself, or Zeke's Titans? Because it's really easy to just turn back and run back to Levi and bite his hand, then kill Levi. Ah yes, that cliffhanger ending. What's gonna happen to Levi? So I think this actually goes back to what I said on my review video. I really don't think that Zeke was actually planning to kill Levi, but instead stole him. I mean, if he was really serious about taking out Levi, he would have actually caught him by surprise and tried to take him out. That would have been his best opportunity. Now looking back at Levi, it would have been extremely careless for him not to be carrying any weapons at all. At the very least, it's confirmed that he does have his 3D maneuver gear on him, which really means that if Levi wanted, he could just wait up in the trees until help arrived. Next question up from Neo. Hi Foxen, love your videos. Question. Do you think that Eren will eat all Titans and somehow regain Ymir's memories, and the story will end with him meeting the god with breaking the curse with some bargain, like Full Metal Alchemist? This means Armin versus Eren, Eren eating Armin's juices. So going back to the popular idea of eating all Titans, I actually have made a video about this in the past, which really touched on something similar to what you're asking. I could actually see something similar happening like what you're asking, something related to Full Metal Alchemist. The thing is, that's already done by a super popular series, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I would hope that Isayama is aware about that and doesn't do something similar. And regarding the thing about who's gonna actually eat all Titans, if that does happen, right now I'm pretty 50-50 on it either being Eren or Armin. Definitely don't count Armin out. Next question up from Mia ER1. Do you think that Horse Boy and Mikasa will end up together? So what you're really asking is if I want to see bestiality in Attack on Titan. But no, really, I don't see that happening. If anything, something else I brought up earlier may happen, which is Mikasa and Armin. I think that would piss off a few people, but who knows. Next question out from Jord the Destro 1. Hey Foxen, love your videos. Do you think anyone will die in the next chapter? If so, who? So is anyone going to die? Like I mentioned, we're like under 20 chapters left. So I think people are going to be dropping like flies in the next couple of chapters. Potentially every chapter. The thing is, I don't necessarily see major players dying that quickly. Do I see someone major dying next chapter? I don't think so. Levi's about to take out a bunch of Titans, which were his friends a second ago. The thing is, there hasn't been a major death since, I believe, Sasha. A lot of people seem to think that Levi's gonna be dying, although I don't see him being taken out not until the very end if he does go. That's why I think there's gonna be a major side character that's gonna be biting it soon. Whether that's Niccolo, Flock, some of the Eren cultist guys, maybe even Gabby, which everyone wants to see go. Next question from the Raymond. Good afternoon, Foxen. Do you think Eren will attempt to activate the wall Colossal Titans in the Shigashina district? I find it very interesting, since a few chapters ago it was mentioned that the people there were evacuated for an unknown reason. So yes, I do see that happening, or I definitely hope that happens soon, at least the demo. And the thing about them being evacuated for some unknown reason, it was unknown to them, but we knew what was going on. And definitely people higher up like Hanji knew what it was for. If anything, you could give a huge thank you to Hanji for taking the people out. Next question out from Selfish Kun. Will Levi survive this Titan-infested forest? I hope he does, because Zeke will have a bad time. So yes, this goes back to the popular idea that Levi is going to be taken out, potentially soon. Like I've been saying, I don't necessarily see Levi not dying, although I definitely don't see Levi just being taken out by random Titans, not mindless ones. But then again, who knows at this point? Mike ended up dying to mindless Titan, and he was supposedly humanity's second strongest soldier. The thing about Levi, potentially he may even survive until the very end, just because I think this guy has massive plot armor. I mean, not only is he a freaking fan favorite, Levi is making so much money for Attack on Titan. You think people were pissed when Sasha died, imagine when Levi Ackerman dies. Next question up from Vindra. Hi there Foxen, I've been watching your videos and they're so cool. And by the way, happy birthday to Levi. What do you think if Eren eats all Titans, creates peace to the world, and passes the powers to just one deserving person, similar to Avatar? Now, is that Avatar the bald kid or Avatar the blue people? I don't know, I haven't seen either. The thing is, I do think that's one way of handling the situation. If only they weren't at freaking war. I don't think the world would just let them sit on this power and not do anything about it. As for the actual world peace part of the question, the thing is, this is the world of Attack on Titan, which in some ways is related to our world. In other words, something very rooted in reality. By the end of Attack on Titan, I don't think there's gonna be this whole peaceful situation going on. And the thing about passing down the powers, we already know the final panel of Attack on Titan. Presumably that means all the Titan powers in some way have been just deleted from the world. So that's why I don't think this scenario is gonna happen, but who knows. Next question out from Feneri. If Queen Historia is gonna have children, who's gonna serve the royal family now? They are not enemies anymore, Ackermans, because Historia is not affected by the king's ideology. Okay, so for this question, I wasn't exactly sure what you were asking. I think you're talking about the past supposed history about the Ackermans serving the royal family. The thing is, there's still a lot of questions about what exactly happened. As for Historia having kids and having this whole royal family starting that back up, I think we have to wait and see. Right now there's only 2 Ackerman. I mean, sure, we can see Levi and Mikasa having some kids, but that's still a little bit far off. I don't think either of them would be happy being forced to serve the royal family just because they're Ackerman. Next question from Jam. Hey Foxen, I have a very different question. If you had to choose just one Ackerman, either Mikasa, Levi, or Kenny, to be bonded with you, who would it be and why? Okay, so fun question here. Similar to a question I got before, but instead of actually wanting to be one, which one would I want to have an Acker bond with? So you could have the badass Levi, this grandpa Levi version, or the hot Asian sister Mikasa. Assuming we're in our world, I'm gonna say screw the rest and I'm gonna go for the hot Asian girl. Next question from the WarHammer Titan. Hey, a WarHammer cameo. Do you think we'll get a look at the warrior unit in this chapter? If so, do you think they already started their assault at the port, or did they simply sneak in? If that's the case, their security really sucks. I mean, hey, the island is freaking huge, you really can't patrol all of it. But yes, that's actually one of the hopes for this upcoming chapter. We gotta find out what the hell the warriors are up to. At least Peak. I get a feeling that these guys are gonna arrive at their hometown and then Peak is gonna be off in the distance. Next question from Riona. Paw Prince. Freaking love your co-videos. Who do you think has passed the Titan powers to their current past holders? Kruger, Annie, Reiner, and Bert. So interesting question. So first off, for the warrior group, presumably there should have been some past warriors within Marley. I don't think who they actually were is going to be very important. On the other hand, Kruger is still a big mystery. I got a feeling that Isayama is at least going to hint at how he got the powers, or at least what led up to it. Who knows, potentially in the past there was this Beast Titan Attack Titan partnership and eventually the powers got over to Kruger. One of the powers at least. We still have to find out more about the Great Titan War. Next question from Paul Lancer. What is your biggest gripe with the manga at this point? Okay, so very interesting question. And actually, I think I've been wanting to make a video about this for a while now. If I had to choose just one, because I think there's a lot. I don't know, the first thing that just comes to mind is waiting for the manga month after month. A 4-week wait. You know, with all these other popular series like One Piece, Boruto, Boruto's Dad, Bleach, what else is popular? My Hero Academia, Black Clover? These guys only have to wait a week. We have to wait 4 weeks. And yes, I do realize we get a much longer chapter, but it just sucks waiting. I think it sucks even more when you get some chapters that are much slower than others. For example, this last chapter, it was pretty hype. On the other hand, we got I think it was 2 chapters of Gabby back and forth. I could totally see that just making people hate Gabby even more. Next question up from Magic. In the midst of what's happening in the past couple of chapters, we kinda forgot that Peak was on the island. I didn't. Do you think that she'll play a role in the next chapter? Like intercept Eren's group while they're gonna go to Zeke, or make an unaccepted entrance somehow? So it's already touched on a huge chunk of this. The thing is, Isayama definitely has to show what the warriors are up to, or at least hint at it next chapter. Although this is going back to something I previously said about Zeke. They don't know where Zeke is on the island. They should have no idea this guy's at the Titan Forest, let alone how to get to the Titan Forest. Although I guess Reiner would know how to get there, I think. The one thing being a huge advantage to Peak is that she could get around pretty easily. I got a feeling next chapter you're gonna see them back in their hometown. Then somewhere off in the distance it'll show something, a little figure in the background. That could be Peak overlooking them. Next question from Koben Reagan 21. I'm gonna go ahead and take your second question. Eren fused with Annie's Titan in episode 25, season 1. Should he fuse with the Beast or Colossal Wall Titans? Alright, so what happened at the end of Attack on Titan season 1, which is still questionably canon? You heard about how Isayama does consider the anime the final product, although we still haven't gotten any word about that scene. That could suggest that the Titans do want to go back together in some way. Although in that point in the anime, the Attack on Titan manga was in the chapters 40. I'm not sure whether Isayama was thinking that far ahead. If anything, at that point he should have still been going with the original ending. But let me actually get back to your question. Should he fuse with the Beast or Colossal Titans? For now, I'm gonna say that I don't think that type of Dragon Ball Z fusion is gonna happen in Attack on Titan. On the other hand, I do see Eren potentially eating Zeke in a couple of chapters just because the guy is freaking dying. Potentially, they could activate the Wall Colossal Titans in that district and then Eren has some lunch. That would be funny. Or who knows, it could be the other way around. Next question from Billy Smith. Since Eren stole the WarHammer Titan a while back, will we be seeing a new Titan form for Eren? Alright, so this is actually pretty interesting. I'm also really wondering whether Eren's gonna have a new form, since I don't think this case has come up before. Are we gonna see a fusion of the WarHammer founding Attack Titan, or can Eren only choose one Titan at a time? If it is gonna be a fusion, does that mean the previous Titan from the anime has been the fusion of the founding Titan and Attack Titan all this time? Either way, I just wanna see Eren use the WarHammer Titan. I got a feeling it's not gonna be a fusion, but we'll see. Next question up from Simon. I have a theory that he could be controlled, however one thing proves me wrong. Recall he says he hates the slave thing, which has been like ever since the start. But if he is controlled, would he be open about it? The thing is, if Eren is being controlled, there'd be a question about the extent of it. I mean, this goes back to some of the stuff I mentioned in the in-depth Eren video. I don't really like the idea that he's being controlled, but influenced. And if he was being controlled, I don't think he'd be able to say it. Next question from Lelouch. Who do you think to you 2,000 years from now is coming from and directed to? So the title of the first chapter, this goes back to the popular idea that this is the original Ymir sending a message throughout time, potentially to Eren or a founding Titan. Next question from Carter Cake. Do you think there's any chance that Reiner will see Historia again? I'm curious to see if this happens and what the reaction will be. Alright, so something about Reiner. I actually do see Isayama setting up this scenario. Potentially Reiner could just randomly find their location where Historia is hiding, and then he's gonna see the shock of what happened to Historia, which is really going back to what the founding Titan Ray's family was doing all along. I could see this guy just going berserk, which would be interesting to see what happens. Is he gonna break down, or is he gonna go into some rage mode? Next question up from Gumbo Baba. Do you think we could possibly see an Annie and Eren rematch in the future chapters? And do you think there's a chance that Annie may help out the Survey Corps? Alright, so I don't think I have good news. Unfortunately, if you've been waiting for a female Titan versus Eren rematch, I don't see that happening. I mean, if this was some other shonen series, I could potentially see that occurring. I think whatever big Titan fight is coming up is going to involve all of the Titans, so it's not going to be a one-on-one match either way. And for my past videos, I've really been going on about how I'd see Annie actually helping out the Survey Corps. I mean, she's been against Marley the whole time. But who knows, at this point in the story, she may wake up and not be on anyone's side. Next question up from Nicole. How do you think it will affect Levi when he finds out the truth about the Ackerman powers? So this actually goes back to the assumption that whatever was revealed about the Ackerman powers is correct. I still think there's a lot of pieces missing, even if a lot of that is true. Now, assuming all of this stuff is 100% correct, if Levi finds out, I mean, this guy's been through so much in his life, I don't think it's gonna faze him almost at all. There still is the question about whether Levi's attached to anyone, if he is at all. Next question from Era Mika Fan. When do you think Levi unlocked his Ackerman powers? Because in the Uprising arc, he said he had a moment where his powers woke inside of him. Alright, so another Ackerman question. The popular assumption has always been that Levi awoke his powers during the No Regret series. You know, when both of his friends got taken out by Titans. The thing about that is that potentially could have happened even before that, in the underground. I still don't think we're getting the full power about this Ackerman story. Potentially Eren wasn't told the whole thing, or he's just holding some information back. Next up from Hardik. First off, I love your videos, Foxen. So I have a theory, that what if Zeke is still working with Marley, and as he runs out of the Titan forest, he sees Peak in her Titan form waiting for him. Then he climbs on and goose with her. Alright, so that sounded more like a question or prediction or hope. It sounds like your theory is that Zeke is some type of double agent, or just he's gonna betray people again, which I'm not throwing that possibility out. The thing about that is that Peak almost freaking died, which I don't think at all was part of Zeke's plan. At this point, it is clear that Zeke has his own agenda, although I don't see him going back to the Marley side. Next question from X Andrew. I was watching the first episode of Attack on Titan, and watching the part where Eren's ears turned red because he was lying made me think, what if in the colored version of Attack on Titan 112, we see if Eren was lying about what he said to Mikasa? Just thinking, don't hate me. Alright, so first off, let me mention that the colored version of the Attack on Titan chapters are not official. I mean, you could go ahead and color the chapters if you want and make Eren's ears red. It'd be the same thing. So now I'm going to take your question and actually apply that to the anime. So first off, if Eren's ears were supposed to be red, I think we would have seen some shading of it in the actual chapter. And then second, if Isayama actually did that, I don't know, it would seem very amateurish. I mean, in this point of the story, just to give something away like that. Come on, I think you have to give Isayama a lot more credit. Next question from Sage Valentine. I noticed that Gabby asked why Mikasa protected her from Kaya's attack. In response, Mikasa tells her she didn't have any specific reason. Is this the Ackerman blood kicking in? Because it reminds me of how she stopped Armin. So yeah, that's one potential about this whole Ackerman stuff. Now whenever some of the Ackermans do something like Eren or Mikasa, you're gonna be wondering whether it's their choice or the Ackerman blood kicking in. I really see Mikasa doing this cause, well, it's her. Something done out of her own will. You know, since Mikasa isn't a terrible person, or at least I would hope so. Next question up from Flute Hero. Hey Foxen, how did Levi's abilities awaken? There's evidence when he was trained by Kenny in the underground, but not showing who he bonded with from the beginning. Could Levi's awakening have been triggered on the environment he lives in? Alright, so another Levi awakening question. Like I mentioned, I do want to do a full video about this. The one thing I will add to this is that potentially Levi did awaken his powers in the underground. Who knows, potentially you don't necessarily have to bond with someone. Or hey, how about if you bonded with frickin' Kenny? Next question from Alex. Do you think it's possible to communicate through their memory's path? And could Eren do it with the Titan ancestor Ymir or his own childhood self? So yeah, some type of past communication like in Steins Gate, which really comes from that Eren Kruger panel about him mentioning Eren and Mikasa. I think there's definitely some time travel communication going on. The thing is, there's gotta be some restrictions to it. Who knows, potentially only the founding Titan could do it. Potentially you need royal blood. A lot of this stuff is still a mystery. Next question up from Distract Enemies. Best question ever. If we ever had an anime Olympics, do you think Zeke would win due to that frame of him running away? LOL. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you have Zeke running with freaking dress shoes. I really wonder how far he's gonna get away, if he does at all. Like someone else mentioned, potentially you could see Zeke coming in and him just going on top of her and then riding away into the sunset. Next question up from Pretty Girl Bye. If Eren drank spinal fluid wine while he was a Titan shifter, would he transform into a mindless Titan or his number of years increase? Alright, so talking about stretching, I don't think we have reason to believe that either of these things would happen. So say Eren drank some of Zeke's spinal fluids. I mean, Eren's already a Titan, I don't see anything changing. Next question up from Ariel. Do you think that Horseboy is going to play a major role in the current chapters? I mean, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that any character that's still around is going to play some huge part, especially Jean. I think in the past, Isayama has mentioned him being one of his favorites. Who knows, potentially Flog is going to get horse kicked by freaking Jean. Next question up from Lisa. If Levi won't die, will there be another major character death, either Hanji, Coney, or Annie? So going back into the who's gonna die question, but this is actually pretty interesting. If Levi does die, I don't think it's gonna be for a while, so there is a question about who else is on the chopping block. I mean, out of the characters you mentioned, I definitely don't see Annie dying. I mean, she's been stuck on ice forever. Although Hanji, I mean, she's already missing an eye. I could see Hanji dying, although I do see someone above her dying first, which would be Pixies. And then for the second option, Coney. I still see Coney having some arc to be fulfilled before he gets taken out. But I mean, for Coney, this guy already has Sasha's dying on him. Potentially Isayama's gonna let Coney live just to be able to live with that cruel reality. Or who knows, Coney could die and just join Sasha. And then the final question from Spencer. Hi Foxen, hope you're having a good day. Anyway, do you think Eren could control the Colossal Titans and send them to Marley and work with the Colossal Titan Yaegerist and Zeke to take over Marley? I mean, if these guys are going to be releasing the Wall Colossal Titans, I think just thinking about Marley is thinking way too small. I mean, after what Eren did with the attack on Marley, the whole world hates their guts and wants them dead. If you are going with this doomsday scenario, just release the whole Colossal Titans and wipe out everything. Which really might have been Isayama's original ending. What you bring up here about destroying Marley, that sounds more like something that Yelena would want. Alright, let me go ahead and cut this off here. I've been recording for almost an hour and a half now. So go ahead and leave a colossal thumbs up and post down below your predictions and your hopes for the next chapter. What do you want to see? What do you hope happens? And I'll see you guys later.